What's up, guys? I am the FM Guru. I am your one-stop shop for all your farmers market needs. I'm back with another video. The crazy thing about this video, is that this is my literally eighth time recording it because either I wasn't recording the camera or I wasn't recording the screen that I'm supposed to be using to record all this, right? But now we have both of them recording. I see red right there, and we're back. And I'm gonna hit all of this in one take. I'm not playing around this time. So, I'm your one-stop shop for all your farmers market needs. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit the comment box down below. And if you want to hit me up for a one-on-one consultation, that'll also be in the description box. So, this video is sponsored by Herbal Cider. It's the greatest cider blend that you could ever get on the planet. Kind of like a tea, but it's good for allergies and stomach issues. I love it. My personal favorite is to stay calm, no stress. So, today we're talking about the ease, how do we say this? So, we have all these products right here, and we're gonna talk about which products are the easiest for people to see at the farmer's market and buying it off of seeing it for the first time. So we're gonna say the easiest products to sell at the farmer's market, but not necessarily the easiest products to make, the easiest product for people to look at it, buy it, boom, and it's a sell. So easiest products to sell, let's go from the top. The first product we have down here is bread. So here's the thing about bread. Bread is by far the most popular farmers market item. I do not care what anyone says. If beside vegetables, it's literally vegetables and bread that's literally right here. So here's the thing about bread, right? When people think about bread and they think about all these different type of creative, all these different type of sourdough, all these different types of artisan breads, baked goods like that, they compare that to a very, I want to say, high upper scale experience. So when people are coming to farmers markets, they want that feeling that bread gives them whenever they're cutting it up and making a charcuterie board. It's a very upscale experience. Like, you can make a nice charcuterie board and you have your family and friends over, and it's like, wow, you really put that together really nice. So bread, and also on the same note, bread could be used just to make a simple sandwich. So bread is one of those things that hits the scale from people who might not have the most money will like the bread, but at the same time, people who have a lot of money will like bread. It hits both those niches. So bread is super popular. I see so many people lining up to get bread, but here's the down part about bread at a farmer's market specifically. The downside, I'd say, is that multiple farmers markets have multiple bread vendors. So I've talked to bread vendors recently who they say they were put at the very end of the farmers market. Let's say they were right here, and they had a bread vendor who was right here and a bread vendor who was right here. So obviously for them, that's going to disrupt their ease of selling bread for the first time. Someone seeing their bread, looking at it, and buying it for the first time. So another thing about it is, let's say you're an up and coming bread vendor, right? And let's say you have your kitchen, you're baking bread, and we're talking about just the ease of selling it. We're not talking about how hard it is to make, that and the third, right? You applying for a farmer's market, they're most likely already going to have a bread vendor. So you might not get accepted based off of them having a bread vendor, and you might not get accepted based off the fact that they don't do duplicates as well. So even if you do get accepted at the same note, you're going to have to compete with other bread vendors. So it is a very popular item, and if you are the sole person for that one farmer's market, you're golden. And repeats, you're golden. But for that reason, I'll put it at an A. And that just shows how good it is, because if you have all those detriments and it's still an A, that means a very good product to sell, especially for someone buying it for the first time. The next thing that we have on the list is live drinks. So let's say coffee, lemonade, tea. Guys, I cannot even tell y'all, lemonade during the summer, sweet tea during the summer, you doing like a live thing of that, it's over, it's wraps. Lemonade, I feel like lemonade, coffee, tea, mainly lemon. Let's talk about lemonade and sweet tea right now. They will have lines for days during the summertime. Lines for days. Lemonade is so popular at the farmer's market that is your gauge for how popular. I look at the lemonade line and I gauge how popular they are to see how good the farmer's market is going to be that day. Coffee, I wouldn't put it on the same level as lemonade, because after 12, people don't really want coffee anymore, or they already had their coffee for the morning. But coffee vendors have adapted to add cold matcha, cold foams, even lemonade to their list so they can keep selling throughout the day. But the whole thing is live drinks. Live drinks are definitely going on an S plus tier. They are, bro, easiness, bro. You really don't even have to talk to nobody selling live drinks. We're gonna skip around a little bit. The next thing we're gonna talk about is ceramics, art, things like that. Ceramics, paintings, art, that's all classified right there. So here's the thing, right? There are a chunk of people who go to the farmer's market and they buy stuff to support vendors. Then there's a chunk of people who buy stuff that they need or want really, really badly and they are gonna use. Then there's a chunk of people who they just go to look around. So here's the thing. Ceramics, because here's the thing, right? The people who go to look around, they can be transitioned into people who are going to buy something that they will use. But if it's something like ceramics or something like art, they are not going to transition into something that more than likely they're not going to transition into one of these. Someone who's there to support or someone who's buying it because they'll use it all the time. So here's the thing about ceramics, right? There's not really a way to bring people in, and there's not really a way to convince them to buy a ceramic or an art, anything like that. Because at the end of the day, even though, you can put your specialty twist on it, ceramics, people come to the farmer's market and look at it, and in the back of their head, they're like, oh, this is cool, but I can get this at any time, so I don't even need it right now. There's no urgency to buy it. And ceramics are one of those things that you really, really you really want to concentrate on selling that at an art festival or something. Because when people come to a farmer's market, they're mainly trying to buy groceries or stuff that they could use at home or something a little bit different they can add into their routine. They're not really, and even then, right, I know we're not talking about this, but let's say they do buy a ceramic from you. Once they buy a coffee mug, once they buy a painting, there's no reason for them to come back and buy something else unless it's a new piece. But it's not a reoccurring thing where they could come every single week and buy something from you. But we're talking about the ease of the first time buy. I would say that's an F. I would highly not recommend selling this at a farmer's market, ceramics. Let's skip over to beef jerky. Beef jerky is one of them things, guys. Beef jerky is one of them things where a wife will buy it for her husband. Kids like it. You'd be so surprised. I was talking to a beef jerky vendor the other day, and he said his most popular customers are bodybuilders and young little girls. Like little girls. You would never believe that, right? But think about it. Think about who all eats meat. Think about how easy it is to snack on a piece of beef jerky. Think about just think about the different sweetness textures, salty textures, and in general, it's a healthy snack. Like if you're athletic and you need some protein, you go to the farmer's market, grab you some beef jerky. It tastes good, very simple. I've seen so many people with lines of these. And beef jerky, I will say, beef jerky is one of those things that there are multiple vendors. There's actually duplicate vendors for a lot of these things, but beef jerky, it's not as many duplicates because it is harder to make. So I would put beef jerky definitely at an A as far as ease to sell because people are just coming up, looking, buying, right? The next thing we're going to look at is soap. So here's the thing about soap. Soap, everyone has soap at home already. The soap I've seen at farmer's market quality-wise is way better than any soap that I see at a Walmart or a Target. But at the end of the day, you can just get soap from a Walmart or a Target. I guess that's true with any of these, but specifically with soap, people already have it in their kitchen cabinet. People might not already have bread because they ran out. People might not already have beef jerky, but everyone always has soap. Did I say kitchen cabinet earlier? Everyone always has soap in their bathroom. That's the word I was looking for. Everyone already has soap. So people will buy it off of the first scent and if it smells nice. So that is a plus. So for that reason, I'll put soap at a B. The thing that sucks about soap and that really does put it at a B, it is one thing that is dang near teetering on a C, is the fact that it melts during the summertime. So I know a lot of soap vendors that they don't even come out during the summertime because their soap will melt during the summertime. So yeah, I'll put that at a B. It's a B, dang near teetering to a C. The next thing we're going to talk about is, I'll say, jellies and jams. So here's the thing about jellies and jams, right? If you think about it, how often do you use jelly and jam? I'll talk about me in my own perspective. Me personally, I use jelly and jam for biscuits. but I only use them for biscuits. You can also use it for bread, but there's not much else you can use jelly and jam for. And it's not one of them things that you could just eat and put it in your mouth. You need something with it. And if you don't have that thing with it, then there's no purpose for it. It's one of those things. I don't know anyone who just straight up eats jelly and jam. But it is one of those things where if you get them off of a sample, boom, you got them. But the bad thing on the back end is that it takes forever to use a thing of jelly, unless you're like a super jelly fan. The average person, I think it takes them a while to go through some jelly. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it at a C. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put it at a C. And I'm gonna leave it at the C. To piggyback off of that, we're gonna talk about salsa. So salsa is a lot better to sell for the first time than jelly and jam, because if you think about it, you can have events with salsa. When people come to those events, they're going through a whole thing of salsa and chips just like that. Normally the salsa vendors will sell chips with their salsa. Crazy thing, I'm not even that big of a fan of salsa, but I just see that people will just look and automatically go to the salsa booth. People don't necessarily look and automatically go. There is that thing with the jams and jelly, but it's not as frequent as the salsa. People really go and just go for the salsa and go for the chips. But the downside about that is at the farmer's market, if you don't have a sample of it and someone down the way has a sample of it, you're losing every time. Like, you really can't, I don't know if you can really be that successful. You can be successful, but you can't reach your potential unless you have samples of it. With all these other ones like bread, beef jerky, you haven't got to try a sample. They're buying it like that. That's why I will put salsa at a B. That soap might have to get moved to a C. I'm not gonna lie. The only reason soap is at a B is because people need soap and people will buy it off the smell, and you need soap. So that's why I put it at a B. Salsa, you don't need salsa, but because people come to the booth that fast, that's why it's at a B. Okay, the next one we're gonna talk about is we're gonna talk about pies, banana bread, things of that nature. So this is one of those things that it really depends on how you do it, because it just depends on the person. It depends on how you do it. If you make a bad pie, people aren't, but you don't even need a sample for pie. People look at it and they know what it is. You describe it and people go through it. People can go through it in like 2 weeks. The reason I will not put it on the same level as bread is because it's not a necessity. So for that reason, you can make a killing off of pie and banana bread and specialty baked goods like that are desserts. So I'm gonna put it at a B. And I'm gonna put it at a B because it's not one of those items people rush to immediately. It's kind of one of those items where if you like pie and it's in the back of your head, if you like cinnamon rolls and it's in the back of your head, you'll buy it. But it's not like bread where people are getting up and rushing to the bread. Beef jerky then. I'm gonna leave it at a B for now. I'm gonna leave pie at a B for now. Because there is a need with beef jerky. When people eat beef jerky, they're doing it for the protein. I'm gonna leave pie at a B for now. The next thing we're gonna talk about is packaged tea and packaged coffee. So packaged tea and coffee is a need in people's life. And it's crazy because I sold a herbal cider, which is kind of like a chai tea. So this is kind of the same as my product. So number one, if you don't have samples of a tea or your coffee, you're putting yourself at a significant disadvantage. But the thing about tea and coffee, it's one of those things to where you have to stand out from the norm to a fact to where you have to stand out from the norm to where people say, you know what, I'm gonna get this coffee instead of the store-bought one. So you do have to put a little bit more effort into standing out. But you gotta also admit that people already have the coffee in their cabinet, or they already have the tea. So because it depends on how you do it, it also depends on if you talk to the customer. It's not one of those things of everyone's just coming and buying it from you immediately. You have to kind of sit there and build a fan base for a little bit and a following for a little bit. I'm gonna give it a C. It's between a C and a B, but I'm gonna put it at a C. Vegetables, that's easily a S. Farmers market vegetables, that's super self-explanatory. Woodwork. There are so many markets where I see, and we're talking about farmers markets right now, do not sell. It's the same thing with the ceramic thing. Do not sell ceramics, woodwork, any type of art at a farmer's market. People will take up all your business cards. People will ask you what made you start it. People will ask you what kind of wood did you use. People will ask you all these questions. Get your card. Say they'll put an order in soon. You'll never see that order come through. I would highly recommend that, unless you're super passionate about it and the money doesn't matter and you have extra time on the weekend and you're in it for like a slow growth, bro, it's just nobody's coming to the farmer's market thinking about groceries in mind, looking at a whole bench, looking at a painting and being like, yeah, I'm gonna get that. If they do, it's rare. And for that reason, it's F tier. The last but not least, I know it's duplicated, but the last but not least is juice. Juices, it's one of them things, man, at the farmer's market. It's one of them things, juices. The lines I see for people getting juices, it's dang near an S tier. I'm not gonna even lie. It's an S tier at a farmer's market. The lines that people, because here's the thing, juices might be the best item to sell at the farmer's market, and here's why. With vegetables, and we're talking about people coming and seeing it for the first time, right? With vegetables, we're talking, okay, so if these all three are S tiers, right? So we already know with vegetables, live drinks, and juices that we have right here, people are coming, they're seeing it, and they're buying it immediately because they know what it is. Now we're talking about what makes something S plus tier, and this is the back end side of it, of what happens after they buy it. Here's the thing that makes juices so good, because out of all of these things, there's competition, but there's not as much competition as bread. Bread would have been S plus tier, but there's just so much competition with bread that makes it hard for it to be S plus tier. Juices have low competition. People are buying multiple for the whole week. So people are buying this big jars, cup. People are buying things of juice that are like as tall as this, taller than this, right? For like $10 and buying 10 of them at one time, taking them all home to have for the week. I can't even put into words how good of an item cold pressed juices are to sell. It is absolutely the best item to sell as far as someone coming to the market, seeing what you have and buying it. You can sample it. You can sell multiple for the week. They go through it fast. They're coming back fast. If it's a cold day, they're still buying it. It's one of those rare items that hit every single aspect. And I'm not saying the difficulty of it. I'm saying how easy it is to sell. And we're just talking about ease of selling. Cold pressed juices are the easiest drink to sell, period. That's all we got for this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, hit me down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but we're going to do more of these tier lists. I'm actually going to record another one. Then that's all I got. But yeah, it's the boy, the FM Guru. If you have any questions, you already know what to do. Peace.